Hello, students, and welcome to Government JAMB Live class. Previously, we've looked at a whole lot of elements of government. More specifically, we've been looking at various political concepts that have existed or that exist within, systems of government from the Middle Ages down to the 21st century that we are now. In the last class, we looked at communism, we looked at socialism, we looked at communalism. We understood, the similarities and differences between these systems of government. Today, we'll be looking at a more common and recent system of government, which is capitalism. So that is the first system of government we'll be looking at today, capitalism. The key word for this particular system of government is capital, which we can say translates to commodity production. However, as we transcend in this particular topic, it becomes clearer what we mean by capitalism. By definition, capitalism is defined as an economic system in which the means and factors of production, exchange, and distribution are in the hands of private individuals. Recall that we looked at socialism and we said these means and factors of production are in the hands of the state because we believe that the state is equal. However, in capitalism, the means and factors of production, distribution, and exchange of goods and services are in the hands of private individuals who either provide or borrow capital needed to produce these goods and services and then take profit after they've deducted cost. So to simply define capitalism, we can say that capitalism is an economic system in which the means of production, exchange, and distribution of goods and services are in the hands of private individuals. Right? There's a continuation to this definition. However, if you know this, you're good to go. The continuation says, who either provide or borrow the necessary capital and take profits after production costs have been deducted. Very holistic definition, but it provides a clear picture of what capitalism entails. As usual, we know that these systems or these concepts we'll be looking at are either socio-political and economic concepts or social, political, and economic concepts. They all mean the same thing. But the pivotal thing we need to note here is that the means and factors of production, exchange, and distribution is in the hands of private individuals. That is you and I. And these private individuals can source capital either from themselves, that is owner's capital, or they go ahead to borrow from individuals and then use that to facilitate the production of goods and services. And we said at the end of the day, the profit that is derived from these productive activities is then shared after deducting cost. Capitalism is a key concept that is utilized even in the present day and age today. One thing we need to note in a capitalist system of government is that government participation is very, very low, and individuals have an edge over production activities than government, which is in contrast to socialism, where the state, represented by the government, controls these means and factors of production. Now, let's look at the key features of capitalism. From this definition, one feature we know is that there is something called consumer sovereignty. Consumer sovereignty. What is consumer sovereignty? This is where individuals have the choice and then they decide the goods and services that they have interest in. As opposed to when the state is handling things and therefore goods are simply provided as per what the government believes is needed. But here, the consumers decide. The choice is vested in the people, and those people go out of their way to ensure that the goods and services that they want and need are provided. So you see how critical choice is in a capitalist system of government. Also, we can say that in capitalism, production activities is based on choice, which is quite similar to the first one, where we said consumers are always right. Consumers decide. We're saying that productive activities is based on the choice of consumers. So we can say it's based on choice of consumers. 3, another very vital characteristics of the capitalist system of government is that the means and factors of production, exchange, and distribution is in the hands of private individual. So, means of production, exchange, and distribution is in the hands of private individuals. We're simply saying where a system of governance does not have one of these attributes, then it cannot be called a capitalist system of government. Let's look at another feature, which is what we call a competitive market. Competitive market. Yes, in capitalism, it operates in a competitive market where individuals try to outrival each other. There is a constant rivalry, that is competition, between individuals who have these means and factors of production. And that competition, we know, has the ability to spur efficiency. So the existence of competition in a particular system of government increases the quality and efficiency of goods and services produced. Also, in capitalism, government participation is low. Government participation is low. We already explained that in this particular system of government, the means and factors of production are in private hands. Thus, government participation or involvement is low. Not completely eroded, but is very, very low. Also, in a capitalist system of government, the motivation is profit-making. Profit-making. Recall when we were looking at socialism, we said most of the time the reason why government engages in productive activities, exchange, and as well as distribution is not just to ensure equality for everyone, but also to cater for the welfare and needs of the people. That is the reason why government engage in productive activities. But in capitalism, the reason why private individuals engage in production activities is because of profit making. So the motivation, we can say for production, the motivation for production is profit making. Very, very important. Also, in the capitalist system of government, specialization is encouraged. And where there is specialization, you see evidence of a high degree of efficiency. So, specialization is encouraged and thus creates a high degree of efficiency. Recall that private individuals actually take on productive activities. It means that individuals would more likely deter to productive activities that they possess a level of specialization in, because they either provide the funds to do those productive activities or borrow. However it may be, they have stake in it. So it is always profitable to venture into productive activities that you have specialization in. By specialization, it means that you have a significant level of skill and expertise in that particular area, because you know that it increases efficiency and efficiency increases profitability, which is one of the major motives for, a capitalist system of government. Similarly, we said that they have alternative, right? So they have alternative sources of capital. What do we mean? What we're trying to say here is that capital can be provided by the individual themselves or can be borrowed. That is an alternative. Unlike in socialism, where the government can only provide, for capital from within their own wealth of resources. Again, another basic feature of a capitalist system is that market forces are subject to demand and supply. Or we say that the economic market is subject to the forces of demand and supply. The economy is subject to the forces of demand and supply. This is a very vital topic, the forces of demand and supply, as an economic student, and it's related in government. So you also see how subjects interrelate with each other within various disciplines. When we talk of the forces of demand and supply quickly, we're looking at what do people want and what can the market provide. When we say that the economy is subject to the forces of demand and supply, we're simply saying that productive activities is based on what? The law of demand and supply. Individuals will want to produce more and more of a particular good that has a high demand, or that has a higher demand than supply, while individuals will produce less and less of a particular good if it has a higher supply than demand. Why do we say so? Where there is high demand, suppliers or producers can increase their price because many people want it. However, where there is numerous supply, it means that individuals can get it anywhere, and suppliers or producers will be struggling to reduce their price to attract customers. And that reduction in price has an impact on their profits. So you see why we say in a capitalist system of government, the economy is subject to the forces of demand and supply. In capitalism, a very important characteristic is labor. And what do we say about labor? We said labor is a marketable commodity. That is, it is open for buying and selling. Labor is a marketable commodity that is open for buying and selling, right? So some individuals are willing to buy labor while other individuals are ready to sell labor. It is labor that allows raw materials to transform into finished goods, right? So maybe when we progress in this particular system of government, we'll be able to have more context on it. Another basic characteristics of future is that there are many producers as well as buyers. So, in capitalism, there are many producers as well as buyers. For context, recall that in a socialist system of government or in a socialist economy, the government is the sole producer, meaning that there is a monopoly of production. However, in capitalism, where individuals have access to these means and factors of production, you have numerous producers that can meet the numerous buyers, that is, citizens of that particular state. Also, in capitalism, the rule of law, right, is vital. So, rule of law, the rule of law is vital. Now, if you recall, what is the rule of law? The rule of law is simply saying that no one is above the law. And that is vital in a capitalist system of government. And then finally, in capitalism, there is a war of class between the bourgeoisie and the proletariat. Now, there is a division in class in the capitalist system. We have the bourgeois and the proletariats. The bourgeois represent the high class, while the proletariats represent the lower class. So as we progress in this course, we'll look at them in much more details. But know that there is an existence of what? Class wars between the proletariat and the bourgeois, that is the rich and the poor. Having looked at these very distinct features of capitalism, what are the advantages and disadvantages of this system? So, advantages of capitalism. The first and foremost is the existence of competition. That is a benefit because we said this has the potential to increase the quality of goods and services in the states. Also, the existence of specialization, which has the capacity to increase the efficiency of productive capacity. So, existence of competition increases what? Quality, while existence of specialization improves efficiency. Very important. Another benefit of the capitalist system of government is the fact that individuals have choice. Choice. Individuals have choice. They have a say in the decision-making government. Thus, this system contributes to economic growth and development. Economic growth and development. Once you have a system with competition that increases quality and specialization that improves efficiency. The combination of this boosts economy and has the potential to increase economic growth and development. Also, another benefit of this system is that it encourages initiative. It encourages initiative. Individuals are allowed to be creative because their opinions count. Also, a capitalist system is democratic in nature. Remember, we have looked at a concept of government called democracy, and we see the benefits of democracy, where a government of the people, by the people, for the people, in which their opinions, right, matter. They have the choice to select who represents them. Such a democratic system, right, is what we witness in capitalism, and it is very profitable for the firm. Another feature of capitalism is that it encourages hard work. It encourages hard work. This is similar to competition, simply because individuals know that they are not the only players in that market. They are not the only producers. There is a motivation to work hard, and we all know the rewards for hard work. So we've looked at very vital advantages of capitalism. Now let's look at the merits of this system, because we know that anything that has an advantage would surely have a disadvantage. So, disadvantages of capitalism. We'll start with the first one, which is it encourages exploitation. Recall, I mentioned that in this system, there is class war between the rich and the poor. It means that the rich have the capacity to exploit, because those who own and control these factors of production will definitely exploit those who do not. Another disadvantage of this system is the fact that the main motive is profit making. So we can call that profiteering. The fact that the major motive is profit does not guarantee, the thoughts that will be put in the entire production process. You will see individuals neglecting the health of the society in which production activities is being made and focusing on making profit, regardless of the damage or the impact of those productive activities on the environment. Also, capitalism encourages inequality. It encourages inequality. Since individuals have access to control factors of production, it means that there can never be any form of inequality in the state. Also, very few people actually have the capital that will be required to produce. So it means that there will be few people controlling these means and factors of production. And where few people control it, there will be selfishness, and that can create unemployment, because only few jobs are created under this system. So unemployment is one of the major disadvantages of a capitalist system of government. Also, this system encourages rivalry. Recall we mentioned that there is a class war. Thus, where people are trying to outrival each other to possess more factors of production, that rivalry is not a good feature of this particular system of government. Also, we know that any system that has unemployment, the crime rate is increased. Increases rates of crime, because when people are idle, they look for, unorthodox means of filling that void of idleness. Also, there is something called wage slavery in this system. It encourages wage slavery. What are we trying to say here? In capitalism, when the proletariat offer up their services in form of labor to the bourgeois, the reward that the proletariat gets in return is called wage. It means that at the end of the day, the rich people or the bourgeois have the capacity to control the proletariat through that wage system, right? So they are slaves to the wage system because the bourgeois determine how much they get paid and if they even get paid as well. Thus, we can see that the system encourages inequality of income distribution.